The easiest way to make your own reactive targets from plaster of Paris is to just buy some moulds from the internet. This one is for making tea cakes, but of course you can fill it up to the depth you want. You only want them about 4 to 5 or 6 mil at the most. You can make thicker ones if you want, but you'd need a high power rifle like a rimfire to do them. But you can buy the moulds and do it that way. You can even just pour the plaster in and make your own stand-up targets. Or if you wanted to hang them, you could buy a bit of cord, cut a bit of cord off, and then put it in there, and then pour it in there, and you'll have a bit of cord to tie it to anything. But bear in mind they might swivel around in the wind unless you make it apart so that it's wider apart, but even then it's still going to want to swivel depending on how you hang it up. So you could do it like that, but that's the easiest way to do it. Then you ain't got to make a mould. But if you want to make a mould to make your own, what I've done here is I've made these like masters, turned them out of nylon, drilled a hole in them. I've done a few experimental ones where I've made them, as you can see, there's a bit of a thickness on that, a double layer. The idea is that the thicker part might be more reactive when they're hit in the middle than if you hit the side. But you can see this on YouTube where I've done some already. There's another one like that. Or you can just make them the same all the way through. But what you have to do then is make up a mould box, or easier still, just get a plastic container like this, which what used to have, I don't know, sweets in or something, and then glue these in the box with a little gap around them like that. Make sure they're all going to fit in with a gap around them. So they'll all go in there. I'll turn that over. Yes, you want the step side to be upwards. Now they'll just about fit in there with a little gap around them. When you know they're going to fit, you mix up some epoxy. This is rapid stuff. There's another mould there that you can buy, but that obviously ain't going to make round ones, it's going to make square ones. Square and semicircled ones here at the end. Or you could just use the middle two if you wanted just square ones. Or you can even use an ice cube maker, buying the size that suits what you're trying to do. Or mix up a just rapid epoxy hardener and the resin. Going to need a fair bit, so I'm going to put quite a bit in there, but not too much in case it starts to go off. So that's the hardener, and then I'll put the resin in the equal amount. This goes off pretty quick, 4 minutes they say, so you want to mix it up quickly. Make sure there's no mist bits in there. Don't want to get too much on there to spread out. Right, now when you've got it all round it like that, You press it in the first position. Then the next one. I'm trying to get it all round the edge. And you've got it as round as much as you can. Stick that one down. I'm trying to get it to the edge so it blocks it off from the ceiling. I don't want the mould getting underneath it. Now I've got to mix up some more. We'll do the same again. Go to the flat side again and spread it over. Go to the edges and lay that down. It's quite a bit of mucking about, but once you've made your mould, you can make quite a lot then. I'm going to set it to the edge. Then the last one, got to mix up a little bit more. As soon as you've got it near the edge, it's alright. And that's the last one. And let them set. Right, this is the silicone I bought. It's in a form of a kit. You've got A and B resin. Well, they're actually called mould making kit. You've got A and B, and you mix them equally together. Make sure you do enough to go above the level or the top of the whatever mould you're using. You can, because it don't have to be round. You can make anything. You can make little rabbits or something if you wanted to. Any target you want to shoot at. So in this kit you get some mixers, little mixing sticks, A and B. You mix them equally, 1 to 1, and they even give you a mixing jug, but I don't think that'll be big enough. I think I need to make more than that, so I'll probably need to use 2 of them, or I'll get a bigger jug to mix it in. Right, here I've got a bigger jug because I need to make quite a fair amount to cover all that. You've got to mix it a lot for 3 minutes, they say. And now that's all gone off, these should all be gone off by now, they're all quite firm. You pull the ring out, see this one's green and this one looks clear. You pull that off. And then this one, the green one. And you pour it into the mixing jug. I'm going to measure it by volume. That's 300. Can always pick this up a bit more if it ain't enough. And then 300 of the clear. That'll make it 3, 1, 2, 3, 600. That's it. Put the lid on. And then mix well. going to use this stick. So you've got to mix it for a long time. They say 3 minutes. Set me timer. Try not to get bubbles into it. Although they should rise out in the end. They do say that you can rest it in the fridge for 2 hours. The mould, that is. Once you've poured it in, leave it in the fridge for 2 hours. I suppose that slows it down and lets the bubbles come to the top. That's, if you think you've got some bubbles in there, leave it in the fridge for 2 hours to get the bubbles out. I'm trying not to get bubbles in it. You can take your time because it ain't going to go off quick. Try and get to the bottom to get in the corners. And that should be stirred enough. When I pour it in, I'm going to pour it in slowly and let it fill the little holes, because that will give it a hole in the finished product when you cast in them with plaster. So that looks about right. Scrape the excess off. When you've done that, wipe the excess off. Now I'm going to pour it slowly into the mould. I made up a bit too much, but it's best to have too much. That'll do. Right, then we'll leave that to set. Right, I've left it overnight. Let's see if it's set. Yeah, it seems to have set. Now we've got to get it out of this container. You can see it's spread a little bit under that one, but the rest of them are pretty good. That's going to be a hard one to peel off. Let's try and get it out. Get behind it. There we go. Try not to break off any of the little fillers for the hole. Yeah, that's good. We got the this one. Try and come up. Just grabbing it on this edge. I'm going to get a scalpel now to cut round this outer edges. I'm going to use a new scalpel blade because I want it to be really good. Take the old one off. Put a new one on. and then I'll go around this outer edge here. Right, now it's the pip in the middle that's holding it in. So I'll try and push that out so I don't want to break it off. That's it, so it's come out. Then the next one. That epoxy didn't work very good, didn't stick it to the base, did it at all? So I won't use that again. Now I've done this mould, I can make another mould, and you can cast, there's 9 here, it'll be 18. That's if you want to make a lot. Just edge it out. And there's our mould. I'm going to cut these little thick bits off because that'll make it harder to get it off. And this one's a bit big, so I'll trim this off. That's it. So there's our mould. You can see the ones that had the thicker layer in the middle. We'll mix some plaster up and see how it works. Alright, I've mixed up a small batch of plaster. I made it fairly runny. Just make sure it goes all round. You can always push them through when they seal up like that. You can push them through later with a pin or a small nail. I'll fill up one of them other moulds as well. I'll give this a tap. Move it over here. I'm only going to make them thin because I don't want them too thick. Obviously these won't have a hole in them, but you can stand them up or stick them on a board. This mould here, I'll just do the square ones. I've got another mould here that was made earlier. You've got to be fairly quick because it can start to go off. Once it starts to thicken, it won't flow properly. Keep tapping it. So go and rinse the pot out. It's made quite a few. I only made a small amount. Well, it's only been half hour, but you can see that these are going off already, look. See if I can get one out. It might be a bit early. I like to leave them for quite a while. There we are. I'll let them set a bit more though before I get any more out. Well, I'll check one of these just to show you. Bit on the big side, but you can put it further away. I find it best to let these dry out for a week before you shoot them, because then when they're dry they react quite a bit more when you hit them, especially with the powerful air guns. They go up quite well. Even the little square ones are done. I normally put these on the radiator and let them dry out that way. This is one of the earlier moulds I did, which does 12. So don't take them long to go off. Take off any excess. Right, it's been a couple of hours now, so I'll get them out. This is the earlier mould. Got to dry these out now, let them dry for a week, and then they react better when they're hit. Right, this is the mould I made. And these are the ones you can buy. You get 3 of these quite cheap for about less than £10. So if you don't want to mess about making a mould, just buy these, but a bit on the big side. As you can see, the size is 55mm. You might be able to get smaller ones. So you buy smaller ones, or even get the small ice cube ones. The ice cube ones work really well. They make little square ones that you might have seen me shoot. And of course they're very cheap. then all you got to do is mix up the plaster of Paris and make your own.